Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Miracle May. We are getting healthier. And so, this is our Getting Healthier Faith Talks. Why don't you come on in? Let us know where you are tuning in from on this evening. Let me know who's on. Why don't you do me a favor? Go ahead and share this conversation because we are going to dive into some really, really good stuff tonight. Good to see you, Melchi. Good to see you, Vermel. Those faithful partners who are always on, ready to share and hear not just a word from the Lord, but good content that will help us grow and be better people, be better Christians, be better friends, be better partners, be better living vessels for the kingdom. That's what it's all about. So, again, go ahead and let me know where you are tuning in from on tonight, and also share this information. We are going to get some valuable information tonight that is going to wrap up our Miracle May series. Have you all been enjoying our Miracle May series? I need you to put in the comment thread if you've been enjoying the prayer, if you've been enjoying our what I call experts in their fields. Let me know that you have been enjoying, because if you have, I've got a little something up my sleeve that I got a sneaky suspicion that we're going to keep some of this going. So make sure that you let me know and give me your feedback. Listen, I'm excited tonight because we have heard from fitness trainers, we have heard from prophets. We have heard from yours truly. And tonight we are rounding off this series. Good to see you. We got some Bull City citizens here. We are rounding up this series with someone who I consider an expert in the field of medicine and healthcare. He is a dear friend, but he is a partner of Faith Forward. And that's one of the things that my team and I wanted to do, was pull people together out of those who have been within our network. Sometimes we can go outside of the network when there are people right in your sphere of influence, people who have been faithful, and we want to hear from them. And so tonight, I have our special guest, Aaron Johnson. I've known him for a long time. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on because I want to tease him a little bit, because he's like my little nephew. Y'all help me welcome Aaron Johnson. Help me welcome Aaron Johnson to our conversation tonight. Hey, Aaron,
Hello.
how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I cannot complain. So happy to share this time with you.
Yes, yes. I was getting ready to tell the people, as I informally introduce you, that I've known you since you were like in middle school, high school, and I've just seen you blossom into this healthcare professional. And I'm so very proud of you. And we're going to get into what all those letters behind your name means. But you're no stranger to the Faith Forward family, as you have been faithful, a faithful partner. When I say partner, I mean someone who is committed and invested into this ministry. Although we don't meet in person as a traditional ministry, you have been right there. And if you're not on in real time, you're the type of person that says, I'm going to go back and watch it, and I'm going to put replay, hashtag replay in that comment thread. And you're a giver. You believe in me, and you believe in the ministry. And I knew exactly who I wanted to close out this series. So again, this is Aaron Johnson. He's a registered nurse. He has a BS. What is that? BSN.
BSN, a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing.
There you go. He's not just a nurse. He's a registered nurse. That means if anything would have happened to us, he's right next to the doctor. So, and the nurses do all the work anyway. The doctors just come in and sign off on stuff. So, again, we're just happy to have you. And I just want you to just start off the conversation. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us how you decided to go into the healthcare field out of all of the other professions that you could have gone into. What took you there?
Okay, well, again, everyone, I am Aaron Johnson. I am from a small town, city rather, Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Currently reside in Charlotte, North Carolina. I graduated from North Carolina A&T State University. I'm a two-time graduate. I graduated December 2019 with my liberal studies degree, and then I graduated with my nursing degree in December 21.
Mhm.
As far as getting into nursing, I kind of got into it because I have family on both sides who are registered nurses. I also have aunts who are also in the healthcare field. But from aside from that, I really got into nursing because I just really wanted to serve something higher than myself, pretty much. I wanted to be of service to others. I wanted to make a difference. And I make a difference every day. Currently, I work in the operating room. I'm not really direct patient care. I used to be, but right now I work in the operating room. So most of my patients are asleep, and that can be a good thing, sometimes. But I absolutely love what I do as a nurse circulator. I get to really, get to ask the surgeons about different anatomy in the body because I'm really up close and personal, right there with the patient and the nurse anesthetist. So yeah, I really love what I do. I'm currently travel nursing, so I'm in Charleston, West Virginia. So I'm travel nursing back and forth from Charlotte, just finding my way and just learning to live life each and every day.
I hear that. Listen, how old are you, Aaron? If you don't mind me asking, because you're pretty young and you've done some incredible things. Talk to us like how long did it take you to get here? We're going to get into our health, but this is very interesting because there may be some young person that may not want to necessarily be a doctor, but you are offering as a young black male other options that they can go forward in.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of people place me older than my age. I guess it's the wisdom and I don't know,
Yeah.
growing up with certain people. But I'm
Mhm.
26 years old.
Yeah.
Um, it took me a while to get to the point where I am currently, honestly. I got to North Carolina A&T when I was 18 years old, had it on my mind to go straight through the nursing program. But of course, distractions came,
Mhm.
they got in the way. Some conquered, but I conquered most of them. Um,
Mhm.
December 2019, when I actually graduated with my liberal studies degree, that wasn't my plan.
Mhm.
Obviously, that was God's plan. So I took a break from nursing school, but eventually COVID came, of course. I
Mhm.
was able to work harder, have some time to myself, um, and get back on the horse, do what I
Mhm.
was need to do as far as like requirements for nursing school, really grind, really figure out if I really wanted to be a registered nurse. Because
Mhm.
you can't really go after this thing, say you're wanting to be a registered nurse, and then you're out there and you're like, I don't
Mhm.
know if this is exactly what I wanted. You've wasted so much time.
Right.
And the BSN, that's a 4-year degree. There are options for an associate's degree, 2-year degree, and you can still become a registered nurse.
Okay. Great. So you mentioned COVID. You mentioned COVID came around, and I know that we are pretty much out of COVID. I know that there's still cases that are popping up, but as a registered nurse, you were right there in the thick of it. What are some things like post COVID that we can continue to be aware that these types of things, it may not be COVID by name, the next thing that rolls around, but talk to us about our immune system. Like, how can we combat things that, like I said, may not look like COVID, may not be called COVID, but you've seen COVID head on. Talk to us about the effects and how we can protect ourselves moving forward as far as our immune system.
So, as far as our immune system, the first thing that I can say is rest. Rest.
Right.
Okay. Your immune system is only good if you rest. Rest is important. Also, the number one chain, the breaking the chain of infection is washing your hands. If we didn't learn anything else from COVID, I mean, some of us got to revisit the lesson, but wash your hands. It's
Yeah.
important to do so because not only with hand sanitizer, which is great when you can't get to soap and water, but soap and water is going to be the thing that you want to do in order to combat any illness, any kind of sickness. As far as like the after effects of COVID, I came in, of course, afterwards. So a lot of things that I ran to when I first got into nursing was compliance. A lot of people still didn't want to wear masks. A lot of people felt like COVID was over.
Mhm.
Yes, wash those hands. A lot of people thought COVID was over. So, you dealt with a lot of characters here and there, but nonetheless, I still had a job to do. As far as my coworkers are concerned, of course, I work with a variety of people in different age groups. So a lot of them were burnt out. COVID did a number on a lot of healthcare workers. And it was to a point where, hearing the conversation, I got to a point where I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute, is this going to be me in a few years? Which I pray not.
Mhm.
But it definitely made me think that. But yeah, definitely infections. There's so many ways you can prevent infections. Vaccinations.
Okay.
Vaccinations. Like I know a lot of people are wary of vaccinations, but vaccinations are very important. They help you fight off different diseases that may already be out here by building antibodies into your system. So I'm pro vaccinations.
Okay.
Everybody else can do what they please is your right, but
Mhm.
vaccinations I feel are very important.
Is it still important to get the COVID vaccination? I mean, is it still a thing? Like,
Oh, the right thing for me to say is yes.
o-
But speaking for myself, I have not. I have had the booster. Um,
okay,
my job hasn't required me yet to get another booster or anything like that. Um,
okay.
but if you are someone who is already experiencing different comorbidities, I would advise you to get that booster just in case. Anybody with asthma, anybody definitely with any lung disease, lung cancer, anything like that that may make you sicker. If you do
Mhm.
get infected by a respiratory infection, definitely go ahead and get that vaccination.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Well, let's kind of shift gears a little bit. Most of the audience on Faith Forward are African American. We are pushing for it to be multicultural now. We want to put some other ethnicities in,
Yeah.
but our audience is mostly African American, and I want to kind of dive into some of those illnesses that we carry as African Americans, particularly high blood pressure, sugar diabetes. We had a fitness trainer on first couple of weeks of May, and she was talking to us. Danita, we were talking about diet and working out. What are some things from the medical perspective that can help prevent those um, illnesses that are kind of running our bloodline, sugar diabetes and high blood pressure? Talk to us about that.
Well, first and foremost, it does start with a checkup. Okay, so you should be getting routine
Okay.
routine checkups annually every year. You shouldn't fall behind. Those routine checkups, they're important because they basically establish a baseline. When you think back to being a kid, your parents, they take you to the pediatrician. They're checking your height, making sure you're in this percentile, making sure you're right where you need to be. But as you get older, it gets a little bit more serious, right? So establishing that baseline, it
Hmm.
consists of vital signs. So you have your temperature, your blood
Hmm.
pressure, your respiratory rate, meaning how many breaths you're taking a minute, your normal heart rate, um, and so those things they allow for the baseline to happen. If anything changes in that baseline, blood pressure wise, that signifies um, that there's something maybe going on, any underlying health issue. That also alerts your primary care physician that something isn't quite right. For an example, speaking for myself, there was a time where I went to the doctor's office. I guess I was a little bit more excited than usual that day. My blood pressure was increased. Normally, I
Uh-huh.
have stellar blood pressure. I'll say textbook 120/80. But that day it was not. So she
Okay.
took they took my blood pressure on one arm, they tried the other arm, still elevated. So she did some patient teaching, of course, but also told me that I should monitor my blood pressure. If it remains, she actually was talking about blood pressure medicine, but we binded that right on up. So as far as blood pressure,
Yeah. Yeah.
number one thing, get a blood pressure monitor. No matter your age, is you have to check in with your blood pressure. Blood pressure is known as the silent killer because symptoms do not show. And if they do show, you may ignore it. How many times do we get a headache and we're like, oh, I just got a headache. I haven't eaten anything for the day. But in fact, it could be that your blood pressure is increased.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. They do call it silent killer. My father, on a personal note, my father had high blood pressure, and he struggled with it for nearly all of my life from the time that I was born. He ended up passing at the age of 48. Now I'm in my early 40s, and I'm like, wow, it is a silent killer. Like you have to keep it under control, under control. Like you said, going in and getting your routine physical. I make sure at the end of every year that I'm already making my plans to see my physician at the beginning of every year. That is something that I take very serious, not just because, certain things run in my family, but the earlier you detect things, the better the outcome can be. Early detection, cancer, we bind that in the name of Jesus. Of course, we have faith, but we also have to take that responsibility to say, hey, listen, I'm feeling this way. Yes, you can get your oil. Yes, you can go get hands laid on you at church, and all of that works. I'm not minimizing that at all, but we also have a responsibility
Mhm.
as people of God and people of faith to say, hey, I'm not ignoring my body. I'm not suggesting that I don't have faith because I'm going to the doctor. I'm actually exercising my faith because now I know what the doctor potentially may say and I know how to pray,
Absolutely.
right? Talk to us about stress, Aaron. Talk to us about the effects of stress because as much as anointing and faith we have, the reality of it is that stress is real. And
Stress.
all of us on this line, whether we admit it or not, are under some type of stress. How does stress affect our bodies?
Oh goodness. Stress affects our bodies in a lot of ways. One, it definitely affects blood pressure. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of mental health, is Mental Health Awareness Month. It affects your mind. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it can affect your way of living. I always
Mm-hmm.
say stress kills. I always say I refuse to stress, but
Yeah.
sometimes, it sneaks in there, makes you a little happy. But nonetheless, you can't harbor there because at the end of the day, you have to realize stress kills. If something's happening in your day that you wasn't planning for, it's that curveball. You don't be consumed. Just let it be what it be. You can only do what you can with what you have. And I think my bestie Destiny, Destiny,
Yes.
life always works out. So
Yeah.
that's how I handle stress or whatnot. Stress, it can just do a lot. It could do a lot to our body. It can be very debilitating.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it really can. And so now you're working in the OR. Take us into the OR. We can ready to wrap this up, but I love watching. I used to love ER, the show,
Mhm.
where it takes you into, what's happening behind those curtains. Tell us what a typical day is like for you, either as a traveling nurse or as an OR nurse
Yes.
uh, in those critical moments of stress because somebody's life is in your hands.
Yeah, so my job as a nurse circulator, the best way I can describe it to a lot of people is that I'm a big host. I'm a host in the operating room because obviously the surgeon is scrubbed in. You have the scrub personnel who's assisting the surgeon. Um, Most people know them as, handing instruments and whatnot. You have that person scrubbed in, and then you have the CRNA, which is a certified registered nurse anesthetist, at the head of the bed, monitoring the patient throughout, providing anesthesia, making sure that they're, all the way out, pretty
Mhm.
much. So they're all busy, and I'm busy too, but they see me as the unsterile person.
Okay.
So, so anytime something is needed in the room, an instrument, a supply, a medication, communication needs to be made to the family that's waiting in the waiting room. I'm that person. I help set up the room. I help position the patient. If the patient needs a Foley catheter because it's going to be a long procedure over 4 hours, then
Mhm.
insert that Foley for the surgeon, help prep the patient. And then while all of this is going on, I'm still charting. I'm still charting. So
Mhm.
all of that, in a way, it can be stressful, especially when you have a patient on the table. You have a surgeon that may have gotten to a lot of bleeding. So now the patient's bleeding profusely and something needs to be done. Blood needs to be ordered. A hemostatic agent needs to be brought into the room. So that it can be something, but how I look at it, I make it
Mhm.
fun. I pretend I'm a host and I do
Okay.
a good job being a host. I make a list in my head. And when I'm at work, I'm at work. Pretty much.
Right. And I know you when you're at work, but let me tell you something. You make sure you have fun with life too.
Yes, yes,
You
yes,
make sure
absolutely.
you enjoy life. And I am just again just so proud of you and the things that you have done. Is there a medical doctor in the future, or are you just satisfied with where you are? Come on, talk to us about the future.
For me, I probably have about a year left in travel.
Okay.
It's demanding, having to, be away from your own bed, be in a different environment. Ain't nothing here in West Virginia. I love my West Virginians, but there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Um, so I have about one more year left. I want to eventually go back to an ICU setting. I
Okay.
work alongside a lot of CRNAs. So my end goal is to actually become a CRNA myself, which
Okay.
is a doctorate nurse practice degree. So whenever God calls me to make that move, I'm going to make that move and I'm going to be diligent about it.
I love that. I love that. Well, we wish you all the best. We have a question on the floor. Melchi says, you mentioned COVID booster earlier. Is there another one that's been developed?
That's a really great question. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. No problem.
Perfect. That's a really great question. I'm not 100% certain. I feel like I remember months and months ago they were talking about a COVID booster. But I actually need to do my research on that one.
Okay. Sounds good. Dr. Chastity says, for the individuals suffering from those diseases that exist in our community, and I'm assuming she's referring to what we were talking about earlier: blood pressure, high blood pressure, cholesterol. There's some numbers also. What can be done on their part to counteract? If we've
To
already diagnosed with it, what can we do now?
Right. So with blood pressure to counteract, to make that a little bit more stable, the American Heart Association, they have what you call a DASH diet. I actually wrote it down because I wanted to come correct. Um,
Okay.
the DASH diet, it stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. So that consists of foods rich in nutrients like potassium, magnesium, protein. So you want your fruits and veggies. So I hope everybody got a lot of fruits and veggies in this week as we're fasting. A
Okay.
lot of fish, not fried fish, of course, nuts
Mhm.
and seeds, and then you have your whole grains. So that can help with your blood pressure. As far as cholesterol, limit fatty foods because cholesterol is already in our bloodstream, but more fatty foods and more fat cells, it can be too much. It can cause your arteries to really, constrict, and that's not good. You're forming blood clots. Clots can travel to your lungs, travel to your head. You're having a stroke now. So it's a lot of things. So a lot of it goes back to eating healthy, exercise, try not to stress as much as possible, smoking, drinking alcohol. The main takeaway tonight is too much of anything is harmful, pretty much. Not saying live a rabbit lifestyle. We all want to enjoy the pleasures of life because I'm a
Mhm.
foodie, if I say so myself.
I
Um,
am.
okay, but just everything in moderation. That's what I would say.
Okay. Everything in moderation, you all. Wow, wow. What a conversation. Listen, our time It's already up, Aaron. I feel like, we really need some things that's going to help the people as we move forward. And although Miracle May is coming to an end, I encourage everyone to, just consider if we're looking at June already being here, what can we accomplish in the next 6 months?
Mm.
Right? We got six more. We are halfway, almost halfway through this year. Whatever, and this is not just about health, but it includes health, your spiritual health, your mental health, your relationships. What can we do with the next 6 months that can change our levels?
Hmm.
Now,
Yes.
I'm taking that to a prophetic place because even though in the natural we have levels that indicate where we are in our bodies, and we look at those levels and say, hey, I can make a shift here if I change one or two things. And I'm saying to us, myself, we all included, that if we take inventory of the level that we're on, the levels in which we're operating, I hear God saying tonight that I've got 6 months. You've got 6 months to start changing some things in your life so that you can be healthier spiritually,
Hmm.
healthier physically, uh, healthier in your mental state, healthier in your emotional state. If you got to get a therapist, we got a great therapist that is a partner here. I will put you in touch with her because we got to be holistically well, right? And so this month, thank you all for sharing with us. Aaron Johnson, BSN RN, thank you so much for being our final guest on this month, on our Thursday night Getting Healthier, Being Healthier talks. We appreciate all that you have given to us. Do you have any final words for your family? Your family?
I just want to thank everybody for coming on. Taking time out your busy schedule to hear the little bit that I had to say. When you said expert, it made me a little nervous. I was like, I don't know, but I wanted to be obedient because obviously you called on me for a reason. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm just I'm thankful that I'm utilizing my voice.
Wonderful, wonderful. Again, thank you so much. And thank you, the Faith Forward family and partners, for joining us tonight for another edition of Growing Healthier Talks. I pray that you have had an amazing time, got some questions answered, and we will see you on Sunday with a word from the Lord. We'll see you later. Have a great rest of your evening.